All right, we're coming off a 3-2 day in my 5 personal sports bets on BrockPage.com yesterday. That's going to put us at 3-0 in our last 3 NBA tier package bets on that very website. $1,000 bettors are now up over $2,700 during that stretch. And if you want to access today's NBA tier package bet, the link for that play is in the description section below. We also have over 840 members who are signed up and active on my safe and secure webpage right now. Now, if you do end up signing up today for my NBA tier package bet, you're actually going to get access to that package every single day all the way through the end of March. You also get access to all the lesser expensive packages absolutely free. Now, if you're not signed up for that membership, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll explain a little bit more about it in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, guys, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the video. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. I also sell my personal bets on BrockPage.com, and I have packages on that website starting at just $1.99. Now, the purpose of these YouTube videos is to provide you with free informational sports betting content. And it's also designed to generate interest in signing up for a membership on my webpage. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what we do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what we do here on YouTube is we'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total, or at least most of the games anyway. And then what I do on my website is I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, we got ourselves some pretty good action here today. Some mid-major tournaments in full swing. Definitely some games of interest. So it certainly was fun handicapping these games early in the morning. So with that, let's go ahead and begin. We're going to start with Delaware taking on Towson, 6 o'clock Eastern tip-off on Monday, March 7th, 2022. Towson is -5 with the total at 137. This game is being held in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Now, Towson's been amongst the best covering teams in all of sports this season. These guys are 15-3 against the spread in all of their contests away from home this year. And they're also 21-9 against the spread for the entire season at any location. And that's good for 70% in that particular category. Now, Towson has played consistently tough defense all season long. These guys allow only 64 points a game, and they're also in the top 10 in the entire country in defensive boards per contest. Now, scoring-wise, Nicholas Timberlake is making 41% of his three-pointers. He's also scoring 14 points a game. Meanwhile, Cameron Holden's averaging over 13.5 points a game himself, along with 8 rebounds and 3 assists. Now, they're taking on a Delaware team who failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4 ball games. And they've really struggled with Towson in recent meetings. The Blue Hens lost 8 out of their last 10 ball games against Towson. And they also allowed 77 points a game during that stretch. Now, when it comes to defensive play in this one, Delaware is having a pretty tough time guarding the 3 ball away from home this season. When it comes to the total in this one, Delaware saw over 76% of their contests away from home get over the line. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 meetings with the Tigers. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. Meanwhile, Towson, they went 4-2 to the over in their last 6 themselves. Overs against the likes of James Madison, College of Charleston, and Elon during that span. I'm going to lean toward Towson -5 in the over 137. Next ball game, it is going to be South Dakota versus South Dakota State, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Now, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits are -9 with a total at 152. Now, the Jackrabbits are they're actually rivaling the likes of Gonzaga and Arizona as one of the best scoring teams in the country. As a matter of fact, the Jackrabbits lead the entire nation in offensive field goal percentage, And they're also drilling over 45% of their three-pointers this year, which leads the NCAA in that category as well. Baylor Shireman, he's connecting on 48% of his three balls this year. He's also scoring 16 points a game. Meanwhile, Noah Friedel is making 40% of his shots from beyond the arc. He's also averaging 15 points a game. Now, the Jackrabbits are currently averaging nearly 88 points per contest this year. They're taking on a South Dakota Coyotes team who allows 76 points a game away from their home court. And they've also had a tough time in recent meetings with their counterparts here today. The Coyotes lost 7 out of their last 10 meetings with the Jackrabbits. And in addition to that, they allowed 84 points a game during that span. Now, total-wise, the Coyotes saw overs recently with the likes of Oral Roberts, Denver, and Omaha. Meanwhile, South Dakota State, they saw their last 3 straight get over the line themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward South Dakota State -9 in the over 152. All right, next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Furman versus Chattanooga. And that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Chattanooga's -1 with a total at 135.5. And speaking of the total in this one, Chattanooga went 60% to the over in their last 10 outings. Overs against the likes of Wofford, East Tennessee State, and VMI. Meanwhile, Furman, on the other side of things, they saw 6 out of their last 10 get over the line themselves. Now, Furman also saw overs recently against the likes of Mercer, Samford with an M, and Western Carolina. Certainly with those factors in mind, plenty of overs to go around. Now, when it comes to selecting a winner in this one, this game's actually being featured as my $1.99 daily best play on BrockPage.com. We're currently 2-0 in our last 2 bets in that category. Now, the link for today's $1.99 daily best play is somewhere in the description section below. So if you want to see whether I like the Chattanooga Mocs getting the job done, or if I like Furman in the slightest of upsets, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my $1.99 daily best play on BrockPage.com. And just remember, guys, if you sign up today for a membership in that package, you're going to get access to that membership every single day all the way through the end of March. But as far as making a free pick goes for this game that I'm not actually betting on, I'm going to lean toward the over, 135.5. All right, next ball game I have for you, it is going to be College of Charleston taking on UNC Wilmington, and that's going to be an 8:30 Eastern start time. Charleston's -2 with the total at 148.5. But despite being favored by a bucket in this one, Charleston's had some significant problems on the defensive end of the court this season. The Cougars are allowing 77 points a game, and they're also having a pretty tough time guarding the field goal. Now, when it comes to these teams' last 10 head-to-head meetings, they allowed over 73 points a game to the Seahawks. And they also failed to cover in 80% of those contests. And speaking of UNC Wilmington on the other side, well, these guys won their last 4 straight. They also got themselves a winning record away from their home court. Now, when it comes to covering the point spread, the Seahawks went 11-5 against the spread in all of their games away from home. So, of course, that includes road games and neutral site contests. So, once again, the Seahawks 11-5 against the spread in all of their games away from home. Now, scoring-wise, Jalen Sims, he's averaging over 15.5 points per contest, along with 5 boards and a couple assists. Meanwhile, Mike Okaru is scoring over a dozen points a game himself, along with 3 rebounds and a couple assists as well. Now, the Seahawks have played pretty well on the defensive end of the court this season. They're allowing only 68 points a game, and for some reason, their opponents connect on just 68% of their free throws against them. Now, total-wise, UNC Wilmington saw overs recently with James Madison, William and Mary, and this very Charleston team. Meanwhile, the Cougs, on the other side of things, they actually saw their last 6 straight get over the line themselves. 8-1 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean toward UNC Wilmington +2 in the over 148.5. All right, next contest, a little West Coast Conference action. I'm talking about San Francisco versus Gonzaga, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Gonzaga's minus 14 in Vegas. Well, I guess technically not Vegas. I think it's Paradise, but same thing, I guess. But anyway, Gonzaga's minus 14 in Nevada here today. Total's 154. Now, the Bulldogs won their last 10 straight against San Francisco, and they averaged over 86 points a game in those victories. Drew Timme scoring over 17.5 points a game, along with 6 rebounds and a couple assists. Meanwhile, Chet Holmgren, he's drilling 44% of his three-pointers. He's also scoring 14 points a game. Now, Gonzaga leads the country in scoring on average per contest. They're also leading the entire nation in offensive rebounding per game as well. They're taking on a San Francisco team who failed to cover in 4 out of their last 5 neutral site contests themselves. Now, the Dons have also failed to cover the point spread more recently against the likes of St. Mary's, Portland, and this very Gonzaga team. Now, the Dons are averaging only 67 points a game in their last 10 meetings with the Zags. When it comes to the total in this one, San Francisco's 6-3 to the over in their last 9 outings. Meanwhile, Gonzaga saw overs recently with the likes of San Diego, Portland, and this very San Francisco team. Now, Gonzaga also went 70% to the over in their last 10 contests against San Francisco as well. So if you're into historical trends, certainly plenty of overs to go around. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Gonzaga minus 14 in the over 154. Next matchup, it is going to be Northern Kentucky versus Purdue Fort Wayne. And that's going to be a 9:30 Eastern start time. Northern Kentucky's minus 2, totals 133.5. And even though they're favored by a basket, NKU plays just 500 basketball away from home. And they actually have a tough time scoring away from their home court. As a matter of fact, the Norse averages only 65 points a game when traveling. And they're making just 40% of their field goals in that very same category. They're taking on a PFW team who did a real nice job covering the number in their contest away from home themselves. Now, the Mastodons have been solid with the basketball in their hands this season. These guys are averaging 75 points a game, and they're also in the top 25 in the country in shooting the 3-ball. Jared Godfrey's averaging over 15 points a game, along with 4 boards and 3 assists. Meanwhile, Jalen Pipkins is scoring over 13.5 points per contest himself, along with 3 rebounds and a couple assists. Now, when it comes to shooting from the stripe, the Mastodons, they're making over 75% of their free throws this year. When it comes to the scoring, well, PFW saw their last 4 straight get over the number, 6-2 to the over in their last 8. Meanwhile, Northern Kentucky went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Overs against the likes of Detroit, Robert Morris, and Wright State during that span. I'm going to lean toward Purdue Fort Wayne plus 2 in the over 133.5. Next matchup, it is going to be Oral Roberts versus North Dakota State, 9:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off. North Dakota State's minus 2, totals 150.5. And despite being the slight favorite in this one, the Bison did fail to cover recently against the likes of Kansas City, South Dakota, and Omaha. And when the Bison foul their opponents, this is a weird trend here, but when they foul their opponents, they pay the price. Somehow South Dakota's opponents are making 75... Let's try that again. South Dakota State's opponents are making 75% of their free throws against them this year. Yeah. Anyway, head-to-head meetings. Bison are giving up 71 points per contest in their last 10 meetings with Oral Roberts. And speaking of the Golden Eagles, these guys have certainly done a nice job putting up points this season. They're scoring 84 points per contest, and then they're in the top 10 in the nation in offensive rebounding. Now, scoring-wise, Max Abmas is making over 20. He's averaging over 22.5 points a game, along with 3 rebounds and 3 assists. Now, Max is also doing a pretty nice job shooting the long ball. Meanwhile, Isaac McBride, he's scoring over a dozen points a game himself, along with 44% shooting from downtown. And speaking of three-point percentage, ORU's in the top 20 in the country in that particular category. Now, total-wise, Oral Roberts went 70% to the over in their last 10 ball games. They also saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with North Dakota State get over the line. Meanwhile, the Bison saw 4 out of their last 7 get over the posted total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Oral Roberts +2 in the over 150.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Santa Clara versus St. Mary's, 11:30 p.m. East. St. Mary's is -5, totals 138. Now, the Gales of St. Mary's, they play some of the toughest defense in the country. These guys allow only 59 points a game. They're also in the top 10 in defensive boards. Now, when it comes to head-to-head meetings, they're holding Santa Clara to just 61 points a game. When it comes to offensive production, Matt Tass is scoring 12.5 points per contest, along with 6 rebounds and 2 assists. Meanwhile, Tommy Hughes is drilling 45% of his three-pointers and also scores 11 points a game. Now, they're taking on a Santa Clara team who plays just .500 basketball away from home this year, and they're allowing 72 points a game in those contests. The Broncos also failed to cover recently against the likes of San Francisco and Loyola Marymount. When it comes to the total, Santa Clara saw unders recently with the likes of Gonzaga, San Francisco, and Pacific. Meanwhile, St. Mary's saw their last 3 straight fall under the line themselves. They're also 4-0 to the under in all of their neutral site games this year. Give me St. Mary's -5 and the under 138. Now, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on BrockPage.com. Now, guys, if we missed any of the games that maybe you were interested in, perhaps maybe those games are being featured on my website. I'm not sure. I can't confirm that, but it's a possibility. So just got to throw that out there. But anyway, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. And guys, don't forget to check me out on my website at BrockPage.com. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my website, just keep in mind, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on BrockPage.com, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of March. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And guys, if you want to get access to every single bet that I give out on that website, you're going to want to sign up for my board member tier package. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at BrockPage.com.